cannot name the card, but it's a horrible card that allows barons to steal your opponent's vampires as long as they're younger.
And certainly these vampires are all fairly young, at least so far.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
he
now
is
they're getting
also
bled by his
bringing,
own vampire, getting the edge, losing the.
not enough to bring out that last vampire, it seems. Maybe he does have something for it. No, he's just drawing and has a new turn over. Let's see how he responds to that. Right there.
It's got to be incredibly demoralizing, especially early on. Like, so he had good momentum. He would have been quite content, like in that he's able to get his zombies going, and now suddenly his board is shrinking and also feeding his own predator.
That would be the worst case scenario, really. But is he able to keep some action momentum going still with his zombies, though, isn't he?
Let's see. I'll be going to be completely honest. I haven't seen some of these zombies in action at all, so I'm unfamiliar with it. As it seems to be most of the table, because they had to hold pause doing an entire reading of the card as people tried to remember what it was with the decay counters.
I mean, that's obviously an issue when we're looking at a card game with the card pool as deep as Vites. No other card game I'm aware of have quite the depth of the card pool that this game does. It makes it a little bit hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah, in most competitive formats, you're going to have a restricted, you're going to have a much more narrow card list. Whereas here, we're seeing players playing with decks entirely unchanged from 30 years ago. So you had like in yesterday's final, there was a lot of discussion of Ruben Feldman playing a deck that has existed in almost its entirety 30 years ago, and that's still able to arrive as a top seed and take it all today.
That's pretty amazing, actually.
So now you see the barons there are able to unlock, they're able to block, and is really restricting the Samedi's ability to play his game.
Yeah, it does feel like he's been mostly put out of his element and find the way back. He's tapped out, knocked out, and doesn't have much of defense open to him. It's going to be interesting when it comes up and to see if it's going to bite him.
Yeah, the interesting part here is in terms of stealing your opponent's vampires, you're greatly restricting his actions. And when you have the lack of a proper mix of disciplines, you then can't rely on going forward as heavily because you can't necessarily have the mix to go forward for your opponent's pool total. Although I got to say, I'm enjoying the pool of actually having the enormous stack of counters because it's a great ability for the players to be able to express themselves, having counters specific to their region or specific to their clan, whatever it is they're going with. But seeing the game played the way it's intended with a giant pool available to everybody to dip into as they go is a great thing to see.
Yeah, especially when it looks like a big pile of cash.
Well, like with the back room that they're playing in, like we haven't had complete confirmation. It's illegal poker gambling then, but
Everything points to that. That was it.
obviously not in case anyone from the Turbine Hall is actually watching the stream, but
Yeah. Just to mention for everyone tuning in, we are in Aarhus, Denmark, for the 2025 European Championships of Tennis at the Turbinhallen in beautiful Aarhus. Tomorrow, the actual championships was that. So as we're waiting for some action, there we have some action coming down.
yeah, so you had surprisingly meek bleed for one
Yeah.
from Theo Bell, which got much less meek very, very quickly.
Used it. Is it going to get then, do you think?
Sorry, I was just listening in there for confirming the capacity
All right.
of the Vampire 4.8. So both of the barons are really kind of cramping up the style
Yeah.
of their prey.
I mean, he could have something to unlock his vampire there, but other than that, it's going to go unblocked, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he's massively worried, like because again, like the Samadi behind him is under so much pressure, so very, very quickly.
So
Oh,
he
and
feels
there
pretty
he
safe.
readies now. So
Yeah.
he's got Power Base Los Angeles. Power Base Los Angeles allows him to discard an Anarch card to ready an Anarch at end of turn. And then with that, we've seen since the V5 Anarchs came out, their location basis is absolutely incredible. So some of the absolute strongest cards in the game have been the V5 locations, to the point where some players are wondering like if they are completely balanced with everything else we have seen from the game, but perhaps we'll see as they start arriving. So they have access to cards such as the Power Base Los Angeles, which untaps you for the cost of discarding a card. You have Garibaldi Museum, which allows you to pay a pool to recover cards that require an Anarch. So you have incredible synergy for very, very limited costs. Because in Vitas, there's always a discussion for cards like Power Base Los Angeles as to whether this card is a cost or a benefit in the game.
Certainly. I mean, I guess the Anak decks are as close as we get as the mid-range value decks you'd find in any other card game anyway. So it is certainly an archetype that you'd expect to find in a card game anyway. So we are on to our next player here, trying to decide just to bring out another vampire, maybe? No? Or I'm sorry, he's just getting more pool there from his location. How
No,
about?
no, he's moving the pools, he's transferring.
He's just
So he's
transferring.
got
All right,
another
so
vampire there. We can
yeah,
see a 7 cap vampire come
that's
out
what
from
he
the
was.
Hecate. So he's building up the base.
Yeah, it's a building turn for him.
We have
I assume.
Camarilla Conclave came down on the table. Not easy to guess from the art, although it does have that red opulent carpets all the way through it. I wonder when he's actually going to be able to drop the second archer.
I don't see it in hand there. It's one of the few pillars where we actually see the hand to some extent. Digging for it, you believe?
Not yet. Digging a lot of the time, like you can cycle cards just through your normal actions. So there's no massive pressure on it. So Camarilla Conclave came down with an enormous number of master cards from that deck.
And he's just moving on to transfers here,
Yeah,
bringing out another fairly big guy there.
there we go. We have another prince hitting the table. So this must be our actual voting to
It
have a
would
little
seem
bit of
like
discussion.
then let's see. Because
So Alexander Silverson, he's coming out, and if you vote against him, you have to burn a blood. So again, it's putting some pressure out there. There was a phenomenal deck we saw during the Week of Dreams where the voting deck was playing all the votes to empty out the opposing vampires and almost completely halt action by either your prey or predator by dumping all the blood off them. And there are a number of decks like that that try and focus on the overall token total because you have your pool for yourself and you have your blood on your minions. But some decks say, okay, I'm just going to take tokens off your side of the table. I don't care where they come from. Eventually, they're all going to be the same thing.
yeah. It is a constant sort of zero-sum game in that sense. So in a way, you can always just do it any way will in the end. Anyway. So we are now a full lap around the table, and it's going to be interesting to see whether or not we can take advantage this turn of what he did set up last turn. And with now 3 vampires on his side, like it's looking back.
So two of them his own ones.
Yeah. And did he? He just passed it over to him. So he's looking down. Is that a block? Is it his turn? No. It's his turn. All right.
Yeah.
That went fast. So not capturing a lot of momentum this turn. And actually, we see Sunny get to start recovering maybe on board state there.
Yeah, again, I'm shocked to see just the sheer number of MasterCards coming down. So we seem to have a fragment of the Book of Nod, which is an incredibly efficient card, and again, kind of focused on that idea of whether this card is a cost or a benefit in the game. Like so, the fragment allows you to do an incredible amount of cycling, where every turn you can tap it, discard two cards to draw two cards.
For sure, if you're digging for certain answers or for your game, sort of your game plan, it's certainly mostly an advantage, right?
Yeah, but some of it requires kind of high level of knowledge of your opponent's decks to understand exactly what your
What you need
out
to
is in any
keep,
given solution.
yeah, what you need to keep as answers to what they're doing. Of course,
We have Aran Thebes the Immortal coming down. That's one of the cards that hasn't seen a lot of reprints. When I came in, I started playing kind of around COVID time when we were looking for new games to come out with. And it's one of the incredibly powerful cards. Like I was looking for ways to find for myself. So Aaron Phillips, he's able to reduce the bleed of forward vampires, and he's also able to reduce the stealth of the actions of your predator. Really, really strong card. Like can really cramp up the style. So you can see, for example, when Martin was able to get across with his Baron, it wasn't with an enormous amount of stealth. So he used Form of Mist to actually get through, ignore the first block, and then have enough stealth to go forward to steal the opponent's vampires. So having Iron Thieves now to be able to reduce some of the stealth is going to be quite useful.
I bet. And he has an incredibly sized board state here with all of those master cards, but also quite a few actual vampires out now.
He's
Are
got two
those,
vampires. You can see the two
are those
70 ones from the
zombies?
yellow borders.
Those are the
And then
zombies.
you have the
Yeah.
zombies, but the zombies are constantly decaying. So it's the board state that kind of needs to capture the momentum correctly. And for him, it's quite intimidating having Theobel as his prey,
Mm.
because with Theobel, he's able to directly enter combat with a vampire, and Theobel has +1 strength, he has all the disciplines for incredible fortitude. So, in some ways, added to Marius's reputation of being quite a direct talking player, you're going to have the intimidation factor jumping into it, where you have the number three player in the world. He's playing quite a confrontational combat heavy deck,
Yeah.
and being able to jump in, knock out your vampires, it can be quite hard for him to go forward.
Yeah, but of course he's probably not that scared to lose some of the zombies. That's what they're for. But he might not be able to do much with them anyway.
And with the zombies, he's trying to rely on the zombies for defense. So then he's kind of stuck between a real rock and a hard place. But you can see there, like Mario seems to be respecting the threat enough from the wide board to have just gone through into transfers on his vampires. So he's being quite cautious. Like you have a large amount of pool there with Mario sitting on 19. You have Theo Bell is not moving forward right now. And it's going to be interesting to see if the intimidation factor of the Samedi is going to allow the Hecate to build up a larger board state.
Yeah, yeah. You can see that on both sides of him, they're keeping quite a healthy pool size. Uh, whereas most of the other players are closing in on that sort of balance where you're at between 15, 10 pool left.
By balance, you mean the danger zone.
Yeah.
Really, like I find myself the moment I'm hitting closer to 10, it can be incredibly scary. The table, especially with players with great strength, like because today we've had players competing in the last chance qualifier. So then having that boil down to just 5 players is You're getting real quality decks run by real quality players. So now you have the voting coming through, you have a parity shift moving across. So in some ways, you can see the dumping of the pool is being used as a resource because parity shift requires your target to have uh, more pool than you.
Hmm. So it is part of his game plan anyway. Will he be able to push it through though? As you're
With
listed
the,
in,
with the Camarilla Conclave, he's able to reduce the votes of others. And so far, the Hecata have essentially no votes in their deck. There's two Barons, which is actually part of his game plan with stealing vampires, and Theo Bell has been outrageously left without a title. But I suppose being the anarch without a cause or without a particular home, as your stereotypical biker with a shotgun, it wouldn't really be a great fit to have him have a city title.
it would seem a little bit out of place, but he isn't able to post this vote on his own. And what
I think he's pushing it there, like so. So they're doing the counts now to see if the barons are able to resist.
kind of important for some,
So at 6-7, the vote is failing by one at the moment.
right? I think he's got any leverage with the other players then.
8-7,
Well, that's not the
and they're
move,
burning the edge as well.
right? And that will
So the Camarilla Conclave uses one of its tokens to help push it through. So with the Camarilla Conclave, it has four counters on it, and during political action performed by Camarilla Vampire Control, and you can burn one count in this card to get the acting plus one spell, or give each non-Camarilla Vampire minus one vote. So then with everyone voting across, it's going to be reducing the votes used.
so
And that,
it did go through then.
yeah, so you can see him push it through, and then he's getting the pool for himself and bringing Martin Weinmeier down to 12. And now we have Camarilla's Iron Fist coming down, so really hammering through the voting.
But he must be happy with that because he's went from what 16, I think, before the vote, burned one point, and he's now down to that's 12. So he's essentially level.
So now they're debating as to what the terms would be before the vote itself. So Camarilla's Iron Fist is one of the more recent voting cards to come out, and it's been an absolute highlight of the new Camarilla decks, really giving some serious punching power. Because Camarilla, we saw that in the discussion with Ben earlier today when they were showing the plan for the year ahead, like I'm saying that they want Camarilla to feel like they have more of an identity and they want to use the releases over the next year or 2 years to give them some of their own power because we've seen the anarchs gain an enormous amount of power almost absurdly from a story perspective, like because you have guys whose core concept is that they're disorganized, like they're anarchic in some way, and then that almost became a superpower with an incredible logistical system behind it, like of all their applications. So then the Camarilla Iron Fist really added a lot of punch to it, where you're able to allocate 5 points among two or more Methuselahs, you're able to burn the points allocated, and then Joseph will gain one pool. So if it goes through, he's able to do 4 damage to Martin, and you saw Martin there
It
is
was a
already
12.
separated out of the four.
Yeah, no, so it would bring him down to 8 there, which is really a situation to be in.
So, so he's trying to get the support of Marius. So the current proposed terms are that his prey loses 4, his predator loses 1, and Marius gains 1. So he's effectively ordering Marius a deal where he gains a pool and his prey loses 1 to try and push that through.
And Marius would be pretty happy with that. Marius sits on the biggest pool of them all right now and having a fairly nice pool stake, two unlocked, but fairly big vampires ready to go. So he couldn't be too unpleased with that deal.
They did the four. That was a crazy deal. That was them pushing through the final deal that was agreed was that he is going to push the votes push some of the damage forward into Martin's prey. So Martin lost four himself, but his prey also lost.
Interesting. And I assume Marius got at least one of those allocated. It looks like he did. And then he brought. He only got one for himself in the end. Oh, it cost
Yeah,
one. It cost
the
one
Iron
as
Fist
well.
always only gives you one pool.
Yeah.
So it's a large amount of damage and then a small amount of gain. But having the ability to do all of that on a single card, it's fantastic. Plus, you have the phenomenal art from Anastasia Korbunova, then showing real stonks feel to the card.
It really feels Camarilla. Um, and we have a fast turn there. When you're down to 8, maybe you have to be a bit.
You're going to have a defensive element here, but also he has the opportunity here, like because of the large intimidation, they're both of Mark as a player and of Theo Bell as the vampire. He's now stuck with the zombies, and you can see the counters ticking down. So the board itself is naturally shrinking itself down with the zombies disappearing.
There's a lot of table talk going on, and when you notice that Ben does get a little bit quiet, it's because he's actually listening in on the actual table talk and trying to figure out what's going on. And then that's when I'm left to try and hold the flow here. Obviously, I'm not the expert you are, but please, when you try to discern what's going on, please enlighten us.
Well, in Vitas, you're always going to have the experts are going to be the ones at the table. Plus, you have technically played longer than I have.
Well, technically, yes.
I suppose that's the joys of a game that has for 30 years that you're going to have players drifting in and out of. So even within the context of this tournament, I've seen some players who've been absent for a period and have been able to come back into the game. So, for example, over the last year or two, we saw a real revival in the competitive career of Ruben Feldman, who was incredibly active in the early stages of the game, kind of 2007, 2009, and then is able to pop back almost 20 years later, playing the same deck and still winning nearly as much. But we're seeing now the Samedi is rebuilding his board. But some of the board building, at some point, we're going to have to see actual action from it because,
Yeah, just building won't win him the game. He has to actually do something with it.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see like at what point he's going to make a challenge of it to either go forwards or backwards with it. He's got a healthy amount of pool. There isn't an incredible impetus for action, but you can see Martin there getting animated in that he seems to.
Is he angry that he is too passive? Is that it?
Yeah, he's wondering like as to how long they can have that board built up.
Mm.
So you have there like the vampire that we can't quite see under all the pool. That's actually Saku, one of the new variants that came out. Very strong, if expensive vampire who is able to do some serious combat damage. I believe that's a torn signpost that's been played, so increasing the damage that's going to be so that zombie is not long for this world. The zombie punches for 2, we get a dodge with an additional strike, and the zombie goes to zombie Valhalla.
Yeah. Well, at least he did something.
Make a zombie spin the zombie.
Yep.
But that's a horrible situation to be stuck in. Admittedly, that you was a lower seed, so you didn't have nearly as much choice about the table selection,
Yep.
where Martin took some time to decide where he would be going. But in the end, he brought it up. So now we can see the stolen vampire that Martin stole off his prey. he goes to bring out the same vampire and he contests him.
So both of them are contested.
So both are effectively out of the game and they'll have a choice as to whether or not to continue the contest. It's actually in Martin's position with his very low pool total. It's going to be quite a lot of pressure to be able to maintain that vampire.
Hmm. Yeah, he might not actually afford to do that. He might have to give up.
So after his terrible, terrible crimes of stealing vampires of other Methuselahs, having a bit of justice come in and have him not be able to continue affording his services, that would be quite nice.
I think we are moving on here to
Marriage turn.
Mario's turn here. Is he going a sneaky bleed there? Or?
No, he's looking to declare a rush across the table, and now the political deck is trying to talk him out of unspeakable levels of violence. But you can see there, like that was quite an intimidating turn, landing both the parity shift and the Camaria's Iron Fist. So he's able to move forward quite quickly, and now the table is going to be concerned that he's going to be able to uh, potentially take Martin out of the game.
Yeah. Could not make out either of those two, but they look like brawling cards to me. Certainly in a fight of some sort. That could be a
Yeah, so we have the torn side post. We have a maneuver coming in with additional damage. And now he's trying to finish maneuvering. Like so, she's got a built-in maneuver to protect herself, and now he's playing an additional card to maneuver back to long. So it hits a cat and mouse of them trying to find the right range and to trying to survive this combat. Because
we don't see
we
any
have
weapons on the table yet, right?
an interception now. So I believe there was one too many cards drawn.
We have a ruling for that.
Yeah, one too many cards. So one was placed off into the deck, and we have time. Yeah, so Marius is looking to see if anyone can throw a cancel across, so seeing if anyone has direct intervention available to try and get rid of the uh, inner circle. So not only is the inner circle providing a huge number of votes, but it's also uh, enabling Camarilla Conclave, because without it, it can't function. You're not able to use its ability. So it could be a very significant turn, like, because in theory, when we already saw Martin take 7 damage
Yeah.
at last turn, he could be just 2 Iron Fists away from his final death, even as a top seed. It's almost ironic in this way, like seeing a voting deck like this be able to um, oust Martin very, very quickly, because Martin has been quite famous for playing a deck like this, and he's had good results. He plays a Toreador version that is able to throw across huge votes, and they have gotten some very, very nice cards. So it's nice to see a twist on that and another take on politics
He might,
with the new
he might,
cards.
he might just wish that he brought that deck instead. Then
Well, he's top seed, so whatever he's done in the first 3 rounds is definitely working out for him. And now they're all debating, like trying to figure out how much of a threat really is the voting deck here. Because in a finals, this one is moving at a solid pace, like because we see quite a bit of pool leaving the table. But as it's and we are at an hour 22, so we have another rush coming across from Saku this time.
and it's also directed at Morris.
Yeah, still Myers' turn, so he's still trying to do something to stop the voting deck. Because a lot of votes as well, like they can cost blood for the vampires. So then if you empty them out, you're really reducing their options, both in terms of combat ends or in terms of being able to launch the bigger votes. And it's coming back to what we were talking about earlier in the match, where at a certain level, tokens are tokens.
And then, of course, Marius himself is a 20 pool. So he's got a most pool of all.
He's able to play some serious bully ball, and we see the Immortal Grapple come down. So the Immortal Grapple removes the ability to play any of the combat end cards that the political deck might have. He's able to deal his heavy damage. He really doesn't care about the one damage coming back at him from the Vampire's Punch. He's able to press from the grapple itself, and he's able to punch for another one. So we can see Alexander Silverson down to just 2 blood there.
And will he, from this press action, we're entering another round of combat. Will he be able to actually kill Silverson?
No, he just punched for 1, and now he's going
so
to
it was a
transfers.
small- Okay.
I think in some ways, like the hope here is that he's able to soften up the political deck and then get the zombies to try and come across and eat his brains.
Well, I mean, he's making him a target, I guess.
Yeah, look at that. The predator's stare, just looking through the souls of those vampires, having them weighed, measured, and prepared for storage.
3 guys ready here now. To at least send some of them. And he's also about to bring out something somewhat large, I think, from his crypt.
Yeah, but for the Hecate, they're very much an outsourcing faction. We have a hunt action coming across, so they're just reloading themselves to be able to continue the zombie jamboree. Very innocuous looking hunt,
full
and he's going straight
transfers.
to transfer, so he's actually
Yeah.
going to leave the political deck a shot. Like, so I don't know.
It was not what Warriors was expecting about from his
Yeah,
actions.
so, but in part, like he might be saving because I believe there's a hulking behemoth there with the 6 life on him. So the hulking behemoth has a strength of 3 and is able to strike back for significant damage.
So that could be for next turn a really finishing blow on that. Vampire.
On Alexander, but also he's there to protect the Hecate from the Bruja coming for him.
Yeah, it does cost more to attack him. So we're back at the voting deck here. The
Yeah,
political
so he's
deck.
trying to understand kind of the layout of the land, asking Marius if he's doomed to a guaranteed rush across the table.
Exactly. So this table talk here is probably
And now he's saying that he needs to dial back the pressure.
would he agree to that, do you think?
It's
With his own prey being at 8, it feels a little bit presumptuous.
maybe, but to him, like the very fact that he's that concerned about the rushes coming across, if he had the victory point, or if he was certain that he'd be able to get it, I don't think there would be as much conversation.
He'd just go for it.
He's able to get Jake Washington down. So Jake Washington can be quite important in a matchup like this because he comes down as a minion and played as a MasterCard. So then Jake Washington is very useful against the rushes to be able to take a hit. So when they come across the decks like the Bruja Barons don't normally run an awful lot of stealth, and Jake Washington can be sacrificed then, like where you get into play it as a MasterCard to avoid a rush. So we
It's kind
see,
of a shield.
yeah, we see that there he's taking some of the pressure off. So we have a Governed Superior coming through. So he's not immediately putting pressure on him, but it should allow him to establish perhaps a vote lock of his own with whatever he brings out. Because you have 3 more blood gauntlet on there, and
He's drawing
no
up.
transfers.
No transfers drawing up and moving over. So he
We have
does
the
not
abandoned
contest. He
colonies.
does not contest that vampire, as we sort of speculated he might not. Instead, he's looking at what to do with his turn here. Um, he is playing. Is
Villain
that
for 5.
a lane just to get some
Back
pullback?
to safety.
Yeah, and that will bring him
13.
four, four back. No, five back even actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Villain
So
for 5. Only cowards villain for 4.
so that's me then. And over
We
to
saw there,
Samedi.
not yet. So we can see there that you really had a problem with the intercept reducing MasterCard. So then he's gone, took the action to eliminate the MasterCard that would have been reducing the stealth of his vampires,
All right. Yeah.
and now he's able to discard and go for
Go for transfers there. But he doesn't bring anything out. It's
no.
just setting himself up there.
No, but a lot of the time, like you have to see the lay of the land. Like so, you try to commit as little as possible in a situation like this to a vampire in your uncontrolled area,
Yeah, that's very dangerous to keep your pool.
to where you can judge next turn as to whether or not you can bring him out. So you have the usual absurdly cautious of transfer two because you know that those two you can always take it back with your 4 transfers. But it's incredibly demoralizing to die with 2 pool and your uncontrolled vampires.
Sadly.
So we have a perfectionist coming down from the Samedi. So they're looking to keep their blood up while bringing out more and more zombies. And I think the zombies there are ticking down to 1 counter each. And we have a bleed for 2 from the corpse coming across.
And here's where having this action economy is actually beneficial because certainly the brewer can block it, but he needs to have cards to be able to unlock and get up again.
Yeah, you can see there that got deflected, so it's coming across to the Hecate for some, I suppose, very cold zombie on zombie action. The ever so apologetic cross table bleed for 2-0. I'm not trying to kill you,
I'm sorry.
just trying to hurt you real bad.
He seems to be able to unlock something there. And just needs to play a card
So it
to deflect that somehow.
it did get blocked now,
Yeah.
and he's doing combat ends, so to avoid taking the 2 damage from the zombie. But it's interesting to see the Samedi moving forward this much. I think he senses that for Mariusz, he's very concerned that the political deck is going to be able to get its VP very, very quickly. So then he's seeing his opportunity to move forward at this time.
And Marius has been, he was at 20 pool just a while ago, and now he's down to, is that 12? So quite significant chunk of his pool has just withered out.
Yeah, and you can see in this situation why the political deck can be that much more intimidating than almost anyone else. Because if we're looking at pool counts, we have 12, 10, 11, 10,
And
while he himself is sitting at 14,
14 even. So he's now the healthiest Methuselah.
which is very notable, like especially having seen him do that much more to his prey than anyone else in a single burst. And now having the really strong play of Jake Washington. In some of this, you almost have to wonder about the psychological element of having big, bright pool tokens
Yep.
because they really show off so much more of
They're shiny.
small differences.
They're shiny.
Yeah, but like they really jump at you from across the board. I see a lot of players here, and we even saw them for sale at the EC with small voodoo skulls. I think they're used for embroidery in Orange, but they actually work really well for a number of clans, including Samedi. But because you have really small tokens, they look innocent, like you might have large piles of them.
I don't have that much. They don't weigh that much. Yeah, certainly. Whereas these coins are quite hefty. You touch them, you feel there's a weight in them.
Wait, and also the incredible visibility,
Mhm.
because we have from the lights of the cameras and everything. Maybe that appears on the stream more so than it does in the room itself, but just the direct light pointing at it seems to almost draw everyone to the political textbook.
Yep. It's certainly the way it reflects into the camera. Might not be the case in the room, of course, but that's
Giant's
certainly.
blood comes down. The most wonderful lottery any deck can try and win in Vitas of playable once per game and being able to refill your vampire to full. So we now have Theo Bell, who's previously played the ever so correct lane 5. Now he's back up to his full 8 pool, and he's starting to try and deal with some of the zombie jamboree flowing at him.
If that's a card he just kept in hand from last turn and just waited to do this.
Oh, if you did so, I would say almost certainly not. He's been on 3 for a while with him, with the villain, and I've seen that go so very wrong so very frequently, because almost anyone who holds on to that giant's blood, waiting, hoping, dreaming of playing it for full value, will inevitably see somebody from across the table toss it in, blood gain 1 blood
Yeah,
with all their teams in front of them.
plays are usually not the winning place.
Perhaps not, no.
There are always exceptions, but essentially at this point, it did pay off if that's what he did. But as you pointed out, it's very likely that he's happened to draw into it. Uh, what do you think he's trying to do with this turn? Because it looks like he unlocks here, and he is certainly going for something. He's got some really
He's
hefty
ended his
play.
turn, so the unlock is there from the Power Base Los Angeles. So
Oh,
he's trying to reduce the zombie count and just bring up lots and lots of blockers. In theory, he's got the combat cards to be able to knock out the zombies, and I'm guessing he's hoping that a bunch of them will have eroded by the time it comes to his turn.
I mean, he's down to 8 pool here, so playing defensively might be his only option.
Yeah, he's got the defenses of being able to deflect across. And now we can see the Hecate start to get his own bleeding going. But as long as it is just a basic bleeds for 1, I think the political deck can almost ignore its predator at this point.
Yeah, of course, losing the edge might make it slightly hard to get those votes through, but you know, he's probably not that scared. So there is a bit of talking going
Now they're starting to negotiate as to how they can actually try and curtail some of the political power, the deck's power. So they're negotiating to where the Hecate will rush forward into him, but then Marius has to not rush into the Hecate, because we saw that with the Behemoth last turn, where with the Behemoth, he left him open because he's scared of Marius coming across with his rushes. So he has to get an agreement, he has to get a negotiation where he himself is not going to get rushed to push forward into the current danger deck.
Yeah.
And you see, he's able to nail Silverson before he's able to get.
So obviously he must have been able to strike some kind of comfortable deal with Marius there.
Yeah, from what I can tell on the terms, it seems to be that there'll be no rushing across and there'll be no bleeds there.
So
I
he's
assume.
certainly a little bit safer then, because also Marius, like you said, is in a more defensive position here. He is down to only 8 pool. He I mean, the worst case for him would be if we see the political deck just rush down, well, his prey now and just gain that pool for that, and that would just put everyone in such a bad spot. Everyone's down 10 or less pool, and that political deck would be sitting pretty at well above 20 pool. No, almost 20 pool, almost 20 pool. And that's obviously the nightmare scenario for all of
Yeah. So you have the bleed for once coming across, but with Alexander Silverson knocked out, it also greatly reduces the impact of the votes.
them. Of
So
course.
now you have two barons to his left. We know Saku is across from him. We haven't quite seen what the third vampire is, Labuga, but there's a very good chance that it's going to have some sort of voting impact.
There's a fairly good chance the next one will get considered where people bring out more vampires, I guess, because
Everybody takes the effort to make themselves not look like the threat at the table.
yeah, yeah, the voting decks they do have a couple of vampires out, but two of those vampires are really small. He unlocks and plays down. I could not make that out, but is it a
No, I didn't quite
weapon?
hear what that was.
That's not a weapon though. It's got
That's a
some kind
MasterCard of
of
some sort.
yeah, and he's back to the turn, I guess. Breaks
So it's the card that triggers off any action that costs one or more blood. So he's trying to clarify as to whether a rescue is an action that costs blood.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
So now
If you can,
he's trying to get himself back up to the voting level.
yeah, I get. It. Is that trying to bring him out now? No, that's
So
another card he's playing there.
we have a fifth tradition come down.
All right. Yes.
So fifth tradition is the tradition of hospitality. It requires a prince or justicar and it adds 4 blood to another vampire. So the interesting part here is that the another does not specify that it has to be another ready
So
vampire.
he couldn't give it to himself.
So here she's going to be pushing forward. She's going to be taking 1 blood from herself to add 4 to Alexander Silverson. And that way it would avoid a mandatory hunt that could be blocked by either of his neighbors. So then he's looking to top up Silverson, and for when he's able to rescue him, that Silverson can immediately push forward, bringing him back to a
Be
full
ready.
vote count.
Yeah, that would be scary indeed.
It offers him, like as you said, like it's in some ways an opportunity to rebuild for this turn and to set up on bigger turns. So you can see there they get 3
It cost him
stealth
3.
coming in. Coming in, he's paying for each card separately. So he
Oh,
played
okay. Yeah.
he paid for the +3 stealth on an indirect action, which this one is. He paid 1 to unlock for having played an action that costs a blood, and then he paid for the fifth tradition itself because the action was successful.
And then Alexander Silverstone gets 4 pull on him.
And he attempts to come out himself. That is,
oh, he's rescuing himself. And he's unlocking, I can't remember the name of that big vampire that he's been using for this. But certainly, that is not as dangerous for this very turn as it would to bring him out ready. But
but it's horrifying, like
for
to
next
see,
turn.
especially when he doesn't have the vote lock. Like if anybody
Yeah.
was able to block him, I suppose playing Malkavians, like and having that heavy obfuscate, he's not too worried about being blocked, or at least he's trying to bluff having significant stealth in hand.
And he's transferring 1 pull back.
Yeah, I wonder in this case as to whether that really is an inability to afford that vampire, whether he's really concerned about the cost, or if it's trying to play the psychological game. Because from here, it would be a matter of how much more intimidating would he look if he actually brought out another prince or,
Yeah.
God's forbid, an inner circle. If he's able to put himself into a position where he has a vote lock on the table, I don't think the rest of the table will be in any way willing to allow it, allow it for him. So now there could be an element of dialing back more to keep himself safer from the Hecate, who do more kind of erosion level bleed or just bleed for 1 that's very, very difficult to stop in any way. or it's a matter of managing his cross table potential ally,
Yeah, yeah,
um, where he tries to make himself look less intimidating, get less action coming in his own way, get perhaps the Bruja going backwards, and between that and again the Samedi having one of their vampires stolen,
yeah.
it's
It
it could
is.
take pressure off him and it could give him an opportunity perhaps to launch again.
Yeah, it's certainly looking like the lower part of the table is doing more conciliatory actions, bringing out things, or well, not bringing out, but setting up for future turns. Actually,
Is Mark really?
he is at five pool there. Is that even four? It, with the
You have
army,
to, the
I think that's
guesses.
five. I think that's five pool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's five pool. That is scary. That is scary. Um, and he's only got two ready vampires there.
yeah. It seems to be the Barons have now spent almost all their blood to steal the Samedi.
Well, I mean, it is it's going for broke here.
You have some sort of agreement with Samedi. So Marius is specifically asking Martin to push forward. So then saying that, look, I could potentially be coming your way if you don't push forward, take some pressure off me. So we see what Hardy is able to do
Intimidation.
here. Intimidation, but here, like you have a very delicate line between intimidation and cooperation because they have the natural friendship element of being cross tables.
Something interesting might be discussed there.
So he's again talking about how he's not going to be able to bleed him through and effectively trying to display himself as a less threatening force. So you can see the top card of the discard there is a conditioning.
Yeah.
So he's effectively showing himself that I am being friendly, I'm reducing my ability to launch bleed for you. Now, it could be complete bluff, like what how many
Of course,
conditioning
of course.
that deck is playing with all the ability to obfuscate through. But his act at the moment is going to be show yourself to be as unintimidating as possible, and then let some of the top of the table horrors resolve. You can see another deflection coming in from Mariusz as the zombies are grinding through for two at a time.
Looking for
And
the sweet, sweet brains.
yeah, and that's where I was saying they had the deal for no rush, no aggression, but you have all the bleeds getting bounced into the completely tapped out board.
Yeah, and that is only that you can't really afford getting these cheeky beats through. But it looks like Morris is losing one or two there anyway. Is that another cheeky bleed? Oh, he's just bleeding him here. Does he have something that can do it?
Bleeds for one
Four.
more.
He's need four more. Morris is down to four pool.
Yes, but the
Does
heavy
Sammy?
bleeders of the zombies are gone now. So each one of
They're
those
all
is bleeding for
reaction.
two.
He's
Now
got
you're down to just the zombies themselves.
yeah, yeah. But he does show something there. That's a card that seems to be letting it's
And now they're
they're,
desperately searching through his.
they're checking the discard pile. This is not this is end game style. This is when you're really up against the wall. Uh, does Sanadi have it? Does he have what he needs to be able to finish Morris here in this action?
Yeah, if there was more longeability there.
It looks like not. He is showing another.
So now you have Martin tries to protect his cross table ally,
His
maybe.
grand break.
And but that gets broken by Under My Skin, which is a phenomenal stealth card that the Samedi have access to, which gives them +2 stealth on the action, and then gives them +1 stealth to be used on a future date. Really, really cool card. It does cost a blood, so you have to kind of plan for it.
But
But
Sandy has slightly more pull than what is common at this table right now. So he might be able to afford it, and he is coming in with something here.
Well, he seems to have gone back into zombie crafting mode.
Oh, he is building up here. All right. So
So he's really working on trying to put Marius in check.
Marius lives to fight another day, but he is backed up, and he might not be able to go forward that much this turn.
Yeah, it's like really interesting to see this much action happening with 56 minutes still left on the clock. So we had that early stream discussion as to whether or not people are more likely to have long, elaborate discussions as to what's happening, but it seems to be people are quite happy just moving forward with it. So we could see a proper undisputed champion come out with everyone else eliminated.
It is very, if the political deck can push through and kill his prey this turn, it's looking very strong.
Yeah, Zombies going to have a very hard time dealing with the political deck because obviously they're going to be able to do some.
They can obviously force him into some fighting sometimes, but he can't stop all the voting. So he's going to get his political actions through most of the time. He might not be able to bleed him, but he'll be able to get some of the political actions through.
Yeah, just hammer through. And you can see there we have an early started turn activation of the Garibaldi Museum. So that takes back an Anarch card. So it can be a card that requires an Anarch or a Baron since it's an Anarch title.
But it does
So I didn't
bring,
quite see exactly what he brought back, but I assume it's going to be the Baron bounce.
but it does cost him another ball, so he's down to three.
Yeah, scary stuff. But in this case, the maths is fairly simple. Like if he has a Baron that's able to deflect,
He can take the chance.
it's a guarantee like, because every bleed he's got coming at him is coming in for two.
Right,
So if he's paying one to save himself from two, then that's
that's
just the way it is.
but with three left, he can't do that forever.
And now we have now we have getting deep into the weeds of the technicalities of the deal that was made last term. So you can see the Hector quite exposed, and they're looking at it because in this case, the agreement was that there would be no rushes moving forward, and that there would be no bleeds. But what he went for is a steal of a pool, which is technically not a bleed, technically
It's
not a
neither of
rush.
those two. It's neither of those two. Yes, but obviously that's the kind of behavior that people get upset by. And obviously, the other zombie deck there on the right is down to five. So they're all sitting with very, very tight life pools.
Yeah, you can see everyone together is kind of calculating as to what can be done from the Samidi, because they really got friends on the other side, as the Disney cartoon taught us. So at this point, it almost seems to be everybody's trying to work out how the Samidi can be stopped from grabbing his points, because if he very quickly grabs them,
puts them in a very good spot. And we do hear some discussion here, trying to
they're trying to
work
see
it
if they
out.
can grab the whole table into it. So Martin is trying to make some kind of argument for the political deck to also push cross table to try and contain that, but the value proposition doesn't really seem to be there with
Well, I mean, the
giving
political deck
Martin
is up
six pool.
next. The political deck is up before Sami gets another turn, so he might just as well grab a point of his own by eliminating Martin.
Yeah, so the political deck is just saying that look, leave me out of this. Like he's my cross
Yeah,
table ally.
yeah,
Yes, he's intimidating, but
not
I
to
have
me.
you as my potential victory point.
Exactly.
Like I got to play my own game.
Yeah,
So not quite managing to reach an agreement to have whole table. Because in effect, right now, we're still on Irish's turn. So then it's a question of can they potentially all rush the Samedi and shrink him down to where that four pool will be an insurmountable obstacle to him.
But also for the political deck, that is not really that he, he's fine with that. He's just playing his game anyway. And sure, you want to bring Sammy D down, go ahead. I don't care whichever way.
Yeah. So now you have they, 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 they tried to do the initial negotiation and now they're switching to threats, saying that, look, you have to get onto our plan of everybody hammering the Samedi or you're getting rushed cross table. So you can see the rush there loaded in the chamber by Marlish and
Yeah.
trying to figure out where he can get the best value for sending it.
Mm. And he's not going backwards, it doesn't look like. Is he going across table? Or is that a bleed? No? He gained a pool somehow and he's back up to
I
five.
think it's just a stolen pool from, yeah, there we go. So
So he
it's
stole
another
one.
stolen pool.
All right.
And then
Fair
she's
enough.
able to unlock. So that's Aline Gadeke.
Fair
She's
enough.
able to unlock when an anarch action or an action requiring an anarch is taken. So then he's able to do the same thing that he did to the Hector, steal a pool from him. So essentially, he's scrounging all around the board, trying to figure out how much he needs to survive the flood of zombies pouring into him.
Yeah, yeah. And it looks like he's passing his turn there without transfers. But
No, no, he's not. He doesn't pass his turns at all. Like he still has two active vampires, so they're still trying to work out how much he could have coming across, whether rushes would be required, going backwards. Like this is going to be quite a long turn, but we have very low pool numbers across the board, so the action is getting quite intense.
of course, this might just be the final laps around. There won't be too many laps left. And potentially, almost anyone is in a position to finish it, except for maybe the top right zombie deck there. I bet he can't do anything for 13 blood. That seems a little bit
Not in a
steep for
single
him.
turn, no.
No, seems a little bit steep for him.
So there we go. We have Theo Bell going backwards, taking off another zombie. So he's really dialed in exactly that plus one strength, being able to perfectly efficiently take out the two. But although he is taking damage himself, and now we have the end of turn with the power base Los Angeles. So
Unlocking
he's
another.
unlocking the Baron,
So he's got
and we
two
know that
Spanish.
he's got the bounce as well that was taken.
Yeah.
So now he's got five pool,
Five pool, which
and
is
he has
a
to
lot
figure out a
more than
way.
three. But it's also, he was at five pool when we were talking at, that he was in such dire straits. And then he went down to three, and now he's back up to five, I guess. But this is far from over. Not out of the fire yet. A master action there.
So we have another location that gains blood for the Hecate when they take recruit actions.
And I mean, he needs blood, so. And he's
Well, food more than
recruiting.
anything.
Yeah,
But
for
like
sure.
in terms of blood, yeah, I mean, like you never have enough really if you're spending it all summoning zombies. But his board is substantial.
Well, he's got four actions there, and
But Martin is very much suggesting that he has to go across into the Summit E, otherwise the point is going to be there, and it could build a prohibitive lead, like having an additional six pool come down, like bring them up to 16.
and of course Morris is certainly sharing that. You know, they can't seem to reach an agreement just yet, um, because the Hector deck is just sitting there contemplating where things are going to go, listening to what everyone else
Yeah,
has to say.
now it's a question of saying, how long of a buffer can Marriage be?
Yeah.
So saying, like, if I'm rushing across there as opposed to going to my VB, will he last more than a turn? Will he last more than two turns? So it's really a question of calculation saying, of, okay, like we have this guy who's not playing with the whole table plan of Samedi. So then, can I go there?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be quite frustrating because he's not in a position where he can really advance his own agenda that much. He can only sort of help other people not lose and then hopefully get into a better position.
So now he's calculating out for himself as to,
He is going somewhere with that.
yeah, so now he's removing 7 cards from the discard pile of the political deck, and he's going to be dealing 3 pool damage. So basically, for himself, he's saying that look, he has one, two, three, four, 5 shamblers there. Effectively, 3 of them have to get home. Between the 2 unlocked barons, the bounce going there, he's saying that I'm going to go for mine, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, strength to him. He's bleeding. Well, not bleeding, but he's costing the political deck 3 pull in doing so, and he's only basically used one action. And if he can get the political deck down a little bit further, a better spot for the next lap around the table, if that is to be another lap around the table. But yeah, it
And
certainly.
now he's down in the muck with them at the 10 pool. So everybody's on 10 pool or less.
Yeah.
We have 45 minutes left on the clock. So there's plenty of time for absolutely everyone and anyone to be able to die.
And it makes sense to go forward, to try to advance your own agenda. He has very little to lose from doing that. You're sitting pretty, hoping for a better board state to materialize out of nothing. It is just very demoralizing. This way, he's bringing it into his own hands in a way.
And you can see the efficiency there, like where they're able to, the Hecate are able to ready each other. He's able to use his location to restore his blood. So he's after doing 3 pool to his prey at a cost of essentially nothing.
Yeah, for free, more or less. And that is, like you said, bringing the political deck into the same range of pool as the rest of the decks. Obviously, 10 is a lot more than 5, but it is still, you know, within reach of something bad happening.
But you see a very interesting thing, like you often see that with players, where the political deck feels that perhaps he's got a better shot at getting the win. So he's gone very quiet and just saying that, look, do your thing, and then
Yeah, nothing
I'm
to
going to
see
take my
here.
jump.
Nothing to see here. I'm not I'm not taking part of these discussions. Don't mind me. Here.
But also, you see the argument coming back across saying that, look, okay, you've had your fun, you've damaged your prey, but you really, for the sake of the table overall and perhaps for your own survival, you have to go across the table.
Would he fall for that bait though?
Is it bait? No, it passed the turn. So now he's making the gamble for himself, saying that, okay, my zombies are bigger than his zombies.
If he
So
takes out
even
Morius,
if he takes out,
Morius, I'm at least thinking that I can survive 1 lap more or something like that.
it's similar to the position I think that Martin Sederholm is taking here, where he's saying that, look, I want to play my game. I don't want to drag in non-card politics into it.
Yeah, yeah. And this is kind of where we might see the first victory point be dealt. Because there's certainly the ability in this deck to kill him, to kill his prey now.
So Martin is still trying to convince his predator to kill his own prey instead. It's like it's a pretty high difficulty persuasion check right there. I don't think it's coming through.
It doesn't look too successful to me here, but let's see. I cannot. There's too much glare. There's no way I can read that card. Are these some kind of political
So
actions?
+2 stealth.
Could be a political action. action that he's trying to stealth through here? Or is it just a bleed?
So it's a governed superior again.
Oh, it was a Gavin Superior.
But he took transfers off that vampire. So now going back to building, it seems a very strange move.
Very interesting.
Like, is it really just trying to sit back, wait for Marius to be taken out as the table enforcer, and then once he's free of that shadow hanging there, he thinks that he can take out the Baron deck.
But surely the zombies are dangerous enough that he is not just free as soon as Marius is out.
It's very strange, like because like even the thrown away deflection, like he must have multiples of them, or maybe he sees deflection not being worth one blood.
Maybe. Um, I'm curious. He did nothing offensively this time. Is it that he's just not drawn the cards? Because discarding deflections looks kind of like he's digging for something. Is he trying to get enough?
It seems to be some element of stall. We see he drew a second Asher tablets there, so he's going to be incredibly healthy in terms of pool. We have the mandatory hunt being allowed through, and now let's see. Martin didn't get his predator to take out his prey, but what can he do himself?
Well, he's back up to. I can't really read that. Is it 10?
It's 10. He's
It's
just
10.
got knocked around a small bit.
Yeah, he's down to 5 just a second ago. So,
Well, Villain can drag
Yeah.
you out of the greatest depths.
yep.
So now he's bleeding in with his own vampire, the greatest indignity in all of these.
Yeah. Femi is passing through, it looks like. And
And he's passing the turn.
see the turn, gets the edge, and he's done that. No transfers, just sitting at 10. Yeah. This is a much more passive lap around the table than I had
So we
expected.
have, but it seems to be largely that there were a significant number of attempts to negotiate, all of which fell through. And now we have him getting his own shot. But with the zombies themselves decaying that much with the reanimated corpses, it doesn't give him nearly as many actions. So between the two unlocked barons there, having only 3 reanimated corpses, I don't think he has the kill now, unless he's able to pull out some really cool surprise. But we also know that he does have
Showing something there.
the stealth left over.
He's bringing out another zombie. Is that it?
Yeah, some can't act this turn, so it seems he feels that he doesn't have it.
Yeah, and
He's going to rebuild his board, and we potentially have a very similar repetition of the last.
yeah. It's keeping out the warriors in that state. And that certainly is a much more passive round. So you said that the political or the table talk fell through, but instead we got everyone being very cautious. So they might not have struck any deals, but in the end they're not offensive. Outside, of course, the Hector deck there, that was actually surprisingly offensive.
Well, it effectively cost him nothing.
Yeah.
So he's able to move forward, he's able to tweak his hand, and I'm still mystified. I wonder if we can get Martin, even after the game, to tell us what the vampire is that he got all the transfers on that he keeps taking back.
Yeah, that'd be
Like,
interesting.
is it just some giant inner circle that he's trying to build up over time?
But surely he must have been in a better position when it was his turn last than he is now when all of a sudden Martin's got 10 ball after that Villain.
He had the 10 in the last turn.
No, 5. It was a 5. And then he Villained himself back to 10
Okay.
this turn. Again, that's the second.
Oh, yeah, that's the
He
one
played another
on the
Villain.
far right there.
Yeah. So surely he was in a position where if he had the cards, could have gotten the victory points there. But of course, if you don't have the cards, you don't have the cards.
And now we have the complete bounce going in from the two bleed zombie traveling all the way across the table.
Yeah, being deflected. And like I said, it's like if he kept one of those deflections, he could have deflected it into Martin, but he doesn't seem to care to lose that.
The shambling corpse gets blocked all the way around the table.
Yep.
And now we have another attempt to bleed for two. I'm kind of surprised to see,
This one seems to go through though.
yeah, I don't know, but I'm surprised to even see the summoning of the shambling corpses first before the bleeds start going, because it feels a little bit like exposing your hand in this situation.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, he needs to do more, and it doesn't look like he's got it. Replaced.
He's taken wider view, so he's got multiple wider views there, like to sort out his crypt or to be able to use for pool. We see now he's got the +1 intercept on all his allies come down as a discard action. Is it +1 intercept or is it narrow minds? Might be narrow minds, increasing the cost of doing bounces. So perhaps you're going to have less of these bounces traveling all the way across the table.
Yeah, yeah. Turtles are Warrior again. He, he's in very much the same spot he was last time. He hasn't advanced his board state at all since last
Well,
time.
he's brought his prey back down to 3.
Yeah,
And I suppose he's deflect down,
yeah, yeah.
although the deflect is the Baron one, so he can take it back with Garibaldi Miushi, but you're going to have the question of whether it's worth. We know from Mardish it was worth one of his 4 pool, is it worth one of his 3 pool?
Exactly. Well, I mean, he started that turn with 3 pool. He got up to 4 pool, down to 3 again, and then in the end got all the way back up to 5 pool. He doesn't run Ghislaine in that deck, does he?
Yeah.
It's,
So now you,
he does have a lot of pool on his vampires.
yeah. So now you have the discussion coming in with the political deck saying that it's understandable that he is a threat and he's trying to count out as to how easily he'll be able to get his own VP. But he's saying that look, with half an hour on the clock, if suddenly he's brave with Martin's quite robust deck, as most of his decks tend to be, gain 6 pool, then his game is over.
Yeah,
Because you're going to have whatever happens to try and take out the Samedi,
yeah,
that then gains 6 pool for Martin. It's going to take time to do that. It's going to put Martin on 16, and then there might not be enough rounds left in the game to be able to take him out that way. So
One
after
is
kind of,
spending one of his 3 pool to do this action here.
yeah, so again, like that's going to be the Garibaldi Miucci taking back the bounce. So because all the bleeds coming through are for 2, but in this one you have the funny element of the calculation where you're on 3. The activation might not be worth the space in your hand,
Yeah, yeah,
because if all the bleeds are for 3, whether you're on 3 or 2, it's still 2 bleeds need to come
exactly,
across.
exactly.
But he's got the Villain coming through.
Oh, he did have Blaine in that there.
This time around, we can't blame him for Villain of less than 5 because you didn't
For
have more.
sure, for sure. But it brings him back up to 6, which is awesome for him.
Yeah.
He's actually ending this turn in a slightly better state than he ended last turn. But now down to 4 again. What was that?
5, I think.
That's 4. That's 4. He's on 4 health there. What did he pay for 2 then?
It's, I believe from the images, it looks like a Carfax Abbey that's able to. It's basically it's double hunting ground for barons. So Annex all the nicest stuff.
Yeah, it's not fair all the time.
Yeah, we have Ben Peel here standing in front of us,
Trying to discern what the big screen is telling him.
trying to ignore all our comments about Annex being overpowered.
Yeah. Well, I believe he can't hear us because he's got some headphones on anyway. So,
But throw it in chat, save it for posterity.
yep. Now, we do have an action coming in there from Marius. Is that?
That's Aline Gadike coming in, stealing some more
Oh, yeah.
pool.
Just getting some more pools, stealing it back up to 5.
And Aline is going to be able to unlock if he's got another
Yeah.
Anarch action. So
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a
It's just
low
a,
cost.
it's just getting cycling a card, getting a pool, and then yeah.
But it's really interesting, the target in this case, the fact that he's taking it off Martin, because we have the argument of the political deck saying he cannot allow the Samedi to die, because with 6 additional pool, Martin becomes untouchable,
Yeah,
becomes unkillable within the time limit. So
exactly.
then you have this deliberate move
Of
to
making Martin smaller.
make him smaller and perhaps make it more palatable.
Yeah,
And in the meantime, we have Theo Bell go back across, take off another zombie. We have the zombie signaling his mighty fist of death, which does nothing with the Anarch dodge an additional strike.
that
So
is
because you have
one
the
less
Anarch
zombie.
action coming in, Aline Gadeke was able to ready, and we're back in the same position as we were last turn.
Yep.
And this time around with 5 pools, so
Yeah.
actually
No,
exactly the same.
exactly
Which,
the
which
same.
was built up now with the Carfax
But
Abbey.
it did advance his board state slightly there with Calimax Abbey. And
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how long the deal is going to last between him and the Hecata player. Because the Hecata player is keeping the full board ready, keeping him on defense. And then the Barons, unless they have some really cool tricks, like it might be difficult for them to lunge across into a large wall of zombies and zombie friends.
surely Morius's deck is not capable of just in one action bleed down 5 pool from the Hector deck.
I would be surprised to see it.
Yeah. So just
He might
staying
have a large bleed, but then he doesn't have the stealth to push it through.
exactly. So it's just sort of a wait and see kind of game anyway.
Yeah, it's very much knife fight in the back alley, like of everybody waiting for somebody else to make the first move, mess up, and then go from there. I really want to see the political Martin um, make his move, like perhaps bring out another vampire or really try and skew the table somewhat. Because we saw Mariusz go heavily at him across the table,
Yeah.
but if he's able to go in that much, then is he going to have an opportunity with all the zombies behind him? So you can see there, like, we just had a yawn at the table. So the players are actually getting quite tired because they can be long days after a number of long days playing throughout the week. And Marius is a little bit disadvantaged by being such a strong player because he's made multiple finals now over the course of the week. So each of his days has been that much longer than many of his
Yeah.
opponents.
Yeah.
So you can see him there preparing, preloading the Carfax Abbey, putting the blood already on it to remind himself to make sure he doesn't forget to give it to his parents.
And that's just like table mechanics. That it's this is where you can see really skilled player in a game like this, how they compensate for the fact that he's been in what 3 final tables now. It's how you make yourself survive the actual not as a tutor but as a person through these games. 'Cause they are
How do you
grueling.
forbid yourself from playing down to the level of your exhaustion?
Yeah, yeah. And having played multiple different card games, I know these kinds of little tricks to sort of if- to not make small mistakes, to follow through on your plans. That's how you survive a long day.
Yeah, a lot of the time it comes down to kind of eating right, getting as much sleep as possible, like when you battling through this, like because again, like at this table, at the very least, Mariusz and Martin would see themselves as strong competitors and be here with the goal of trying to win the EC.
Yeah,
But
no,
so then like trying to power through it. But we're quite lucky in the setting here in Aarhus where we're just a few minutes away from an incredible street food combination.
no, yeah, we've actually been able to feed well, and there's a bar in the facility, so you can hydrate, and that's so important to stay hydrated throughout the day. Uh, we don't see any bottles of water here, but surely everyone at this top table has been able to hydrate between rounds at least.
Now, this isn't us getting thirsty and just calling for drinks to be brought up to us,
It is that
but we're,
also.
but we're having a very strange turn now, like where we seem to be stuck in the same loop of everyone focusing on not appearing to be a threat. So we saw the Hecata and the political deck both almost skip their turns.
Virtually doing nothing, not advancing the board state, getting another pull for the political deck, but essentially not really doing
Yeah, so still the transfers going back, and now you have Martin continues to push forward. So he's got the banishment to get rid of the main Samedi zombie crafter. He's
anything.
going to be
That is
going
actually
into his
quite,
uncontrolled area. Will need to be brought out again. So it's trying to reduce the efficiency, like so,
yeah.
because we've seen a couple of zombies come off, a couple of zombies come on, and then they keep shuffling forward. Whereas in this case, because he's down to just one Samedi character, he's in a situation where this turn between whatever zombies would be blocked and knocked out, especially with Theo Bell ready this time around,
Yep.
and with whatever will expire, you have a situation where,
Yosemite might not look as scary the next time around, but also importantly, this might free up Morius to actually start doing more on the table. Martin is providing the window for Morius. Well, he might be providing the window for Morius to actually accomplish something.
yeah, it's interesting to see where it's going to push forward. So you can see again, like more uh, shambling corpses coming off. Very, very small board now.
Yeah, this is not what we've been seeing the last few rounds.
And now we're down to 24 minutes left on the clock.
Yep.
So you really starting to get a consideration of, yeah, and the crowd are shouting for action, demanding BPs, blood for the pool and all that. Uh, and
I
we
was
need to
almost
see.
saying blood for the blood god, but that's the wrong game.
I said nothing of the sort. The fragment of the Book of Nod is feeding the hand, but we can see some sluggishness there from the demoralizing effect of seeing one's board shrunk down this much to everybody batting down the hatches.
Yeah. And I guess in a way, if this goes to time with everyone still alive, that is Martin's win. So he's in no position. He doesn't have to change things. He just needs things to stay the way they are.
Yeah, and he has the ability to reach across the table with things like banishment, with things like his ability to steal vampires. Well, not now because his barons have almost nothing on them, and Giant's Blood has already been played. But he can essentially try to defend his win by stalling the ability of anyone being able to oust their prey.
Yeah. And being at 9 pool here, he put himself in a position where he can allow himself to do this slightly more offensive turn, where is actually attacking Sunny D. And he's only Warriors now, and he is indeed going cross table here, right?
We're seeing the same thing as we saw before, where the Samidis bringing out the shambling corpse, and then
Oh, he's actually
he's coming in
attacking his
and
prey.
he's bleeding. So the bleed got bounced there,
Oh yeah, okay.
Is
So
that
this is still Samidis.
bounced again.
It's
We're
still
seeing the
Samidis.
effect now. So that's definitely narrow mind on the table.
Mm.
And a bleed for two travels from the Samidi all the way to the Martins Barons.
Yep, and he's down to 7. Uh, so that was me just mistaken what was happening there. With still 5 of available pool for Martin, I and not no ability to really make more zombies. Samidi just decides to bring his
Brings Vampire back. He was
bring his
banished. He
vampire back.
went to his timeout corner, and now he's back.
Yeah, So, conciliatory round for Sammy. And then it is actually over to Maria's turn now.
Mario is playing Dreams. He's getting his blood from the Carfax Abbey. We didn't get the Baron bounce back this time around with Garibaldi Miucci. In reality, like he might be in one of the closest states to try and go for his prey now.
What could he bleed for five, or how would he accomplish killing uh, his zombie prey here?
One pool at a time. But,
Humble is
obviously, he can bleed for more. It's just he's very unlikely to have any significant amounts of stealth to push it through the many available blockers.
yeah, yeah. I mean, being a fighting deck, he's essentially not trying to stealth things.
So he passed his turn. He doesn't feel entirely comfortable brawling here and exposing himself to the shambling corpses in the back. We have another card getting cycled. What can the Hecate do here? We really need somebody to try and shake it up, like because with 20 minutes left, you have to have a genuine consideration of how many turns is everybody getting. So we have friends of the family played to deal out another crypt card and to be able to put a transfer directly on it. If it's a Hector card, that's one of the most celebrated master cards to come out recently. Like it's just so efficient when you're playing. When your characters are almost all interchangeable, like when all your vampires are just there to create some kind of zombies. So then you bring out whichever one does it. We have an actual bleed coming across with plus one bleed, plus one stealth,
And
getting across a bleed for two.
Ricky Martins is letting that through.
It was difficult for him not to because you can see there, because of the narrow minds increasing the cost of the bounces, his inner circle is left with no blood facing a mandatory hunt. But also, I think with the time limit left, because he's already got two Ashers down,
We know he can make 7 damage in a turn. He just needs to draw into those cards. So there's an argument that
very difficult because he's facing a mandatory hunt on his
oh, yeah,
inner
that's right.
circle.
That's
So
right.
he'll only have Alexander Silverson with which to be able to act.
Yeah, that's true.
The transfers back. How much caution can they really?
Very defensively. And that kind of play will only give the victory to Martin, right?
It's going to be interesting to see if we actually can get 2 days in a row finals where. Oh yeah, he's got Jake Washington. Completely forgot about that one. So Jake Washington was there, like in part, to be able to block it, but he can also get rid of Jake Washington to get 4 blood back. So he's relatively happy with it.
He's using, he's going for something here. That is a,
So it's a govern.
yeah.
Is it a govern bleed or is it a govern superior? You can see Martin pulling at his vampire, so it must be a vampire bleed.
And that's a +1 lead as well. And do we have a deflect here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have the Baron deflect, which would normally be free just for the tap, but because of narrow minds, he's still having to pay for it. So can Martin sit at home? Do something.
Obviously, Sammy can't really defend that.
No, no. So in this case, he's making the bleed unsuccessful
Oh,
to
okay.
then give himself the ability to bleed more once he becomes his prey. So
Yeah.
like it's a strong play. It's good to see that reliability coming out of the obfuscate.
But
So
with
is he going to
six,
launch across with Alexander as well? Because I think for his plan to really work out, he would have needed Bolson to go across.
yeah.
But you can see here that he was able to both attempt to bleed and then being able to ready because he played an action requiring blood.
All right.
So
Yeah,
now
yeah,
we
yeah.
still have the possibility
Has both of them
of
ready.
another bleed and up to two votes.
And Martin only has one ready vampire. Of course, he might have ways of unlocking, but only one unlocked. Uh,
Yes, the ever important calculation of how do I not die here?
yep,
What? No, don't discard. On the turn. Help.
he did end the turn there, and that with 16 minutes left, there's no way this comes around the table in a state where he gets a better shot at ending it, does it?
Whether Martin has the ability to advance his pool. The difficulty here is if he gets any more bleeds bounced into him, because now Jake Washington is gone. So then having to pay two blood for deflections with a narrow mind is quite expensive. So that's where part of the calculation is going to be: can he take the bleeds that are deflected into him, as well as whatever bleeds the Hecata can do? Yeah, and you can see that timing is becoming a really important consideration here.
Exactly, because there's only 14 minutes left now. I mean, we might not even see a full lap.
Yeah, we really have to appreciate the organizational team for the EC putting the information in the stream and setting it up with both the player's name and even the timer itself being represented down at the bottom of the window there. So really adds a lot of clarity to the stream itself. And now we have the Samedi trying to make his calculation, doing the same thing we do every damn night.
It is back in the same state. It's got, well, he needs to four, make 4 damage on that pool
He gains three
Marius.
unlocked vampires and at least one guaranteed bounce.
Yeah,
That math saying nothing.
so he's down yet another zombie. It is a horde, after all.
Look again at the small tricks to accelerate the process. Like here, don't journey so far across the table to the pool. Here it is for you. Let's knock out a second and a half. Let's give ourselves a chance at another turn.
Let me help you.
And we have 13 minutes left. And you can see there no hesitation bounce coming across the table. And now, how far is this
Really
bounce
trouble.
going to go?
If it does indeed travel all the way to Martin, that's of course
We can
potentially
see
of political Martin's.
he's got the third Asher in hand, so
Oh, no,
he's going to feel relatively comfortable taking another bleed
yeah,
because if he makes it to his turn, then he's going to gain three additional pool, and within the time limit, it's going to be almost impossible for him to die.
yeah, yeah. This certainly is ticking down to a win for Martin.
We see if Marius can make a jump forward, like because you have a significant amount of the Hector board has been tapped down. He
And
has
of course,
been
Martin is still
moving.
in turn. He's still doing things. No, he just ended his turn.
Yeah.
All right, so that means that Marius has one more
So we have the
turn.
dreams getting tapped. You have one pool being paid for, we have to assume, the Garibaldi Museum.
Well, we have to assume this is Marius. Have to assume this is his last turn, right? or does he believe that he could have another turn?
At 11 minutes, he can probably hope to get 2 turns, maybe. But it is very much lining up to where all of them are potentially looking to survive, unless some serious damage done to Hecate or the political deck has been saving up and is able to just burst through with a lot of damage. But we know he's got the third Asher in hand. The third Asher in hand is going to be able to guarantee him to take
Three more.
Camaria's Iron Fist back into hand
Yeah.
from his
Yeah.
discard pile. He still has the Camaria Conclave available. Has a bunch of votes. Can he push them through?
So that is certainly enough to get rid of those 7 pool markings. But well, we'll see. Over to the Hector deck here, and that was actually a quick turn from Murray's. Uh, Hector is
Sorry, yeah, read for 2 coming through from the Anarchs. The Hecate refusing to uh, block and then just tossing across with my enemy's enemy back into the Samedi. Samedi has so much pool, it's almost
he
irrelevant.
he doesn't get. And Marius does gain the edge there for as much as good as it gets him. But he is now up to what is that? 5, 8 pool himself.
Rapidly getting out of reach,
Yeah.
unless the Samedi has been saving up something from the actual Samedi vampires themselves to be able to launch. We know I still got the +1 stealth from Under My Skin saved up from some turns ago. So perhaps he has been saving up for some lunge on his last turn. But the
Right,
consideration
right.
very much has to be there with 9 minutes left.
So Marius is pushing some damage. We see the Hector deck down to 4 pool here. But surely there isn't enough here for Marius to be able to push those two
No,
out.
he's gone back for the zombies.
Yeah, he's trying to make sure that he doesn't lose next
But
turn.
going back to the zombies, he's going to unlock Eileen now.
Right.
So Eileen unlocks, costs her 1. So then with the Carfax Abbey, it's really allowing him to almost eliminate the cost of Eileen's unlock action.
And he is now on 8 pool.
So with another zombie gone down, he's in a very, very comfortable situation.
He's considering even transferring here, but decide against it.
Going back,
No, he's not going back. Oh, he is. No, he is transferring. On. All right. So
it
sitting.
seems to be he's really in consideration. So we have himself and the political Martin are both loaded up with some potential.
Right, right. If he gets to get another turn, because now we're down to 8 minutes. And now it's the Hector deck's turn, right?
Yeah. As we saw the attack with the power base Los Angeles.
Exactly. He is unlocking and
So again, cycling some cards.
yeah, hoping to see something. What do you think he hopes? What would he wants to see? Yeah. What does he hope to
I don't
do
think
with
he's
it?
got any way to deal 9 really here. Like he's probably has 14 cards in the discard right now before the Asher tablets trigger. So his best bet might be to try and play as many of the remove 7 cards from the Ash heap to deal 3 pool damage as possible. Drain down the
Political marketing.
drain down his options, like, so that way he can get rid of the best cards that would be available for the Asher tablets
Yeah, yeah.
and also reduce his ability to jump forward. But that would rely on him trying to get to have another turn with 6 minutes left on the clock.
which is a far stretch. If he's got to play to whatever odds there is, even though it is frustratingly
Yeah, so we see
low odds
the
of it.
yeah we see the giant zombie coming through, attacking Alexander Silverson. It's blocked by Juliet Parr, who's going to try and rely on her free maneuver to survive. The zombie presses to try and get, and she maneuvers too long again in the second round of combat. He can't press anymore, so the combat effectively fizzles.
Yeah. And there's no aggravated damage here. There's nothing that's going to in any way inhibit.
Can't even reach out for the damage because he's using the completely OP move of walking backwards.
I mean, running is the best martial self-defense art.
Can't argue that much. So we have Alexander Silverson got saved by his sugar mama,
Yep.
and now the Hecate is back to the calculation.
Does he
But
have
all
any
of
more
this is
actions?
he still has all the actual vampires unlocked. So far it's only the zombie gone, and now he's kind of counting card by card as to what can give it to him. But you're going to have a political Martin is really hoping to have one more shot at trying to grab his VP and game win here.
Cindy, if he can play that last action tablet with a healthy discard pile to bring out those iron
Yeah.
fists and whatnot.
I'm trying to remember when exactly he lost the 7 cards from
It
the
was after
discard.
after the Iron Fist.
Okay, so the Iron Fist is probably gone, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
it might not
probably
be
true.
anything that juicy.
So
But even so, like it's a guaranteed MasterCard to be able to replace.
yep, and I mean, he needs to dig into that and see if he can get political cards to be able to finish this.
So there, like he's just saying that, look, you can't kill me, so I'll
Why
take
waste the
the
time?
bleeds you have.
Yeah, don't waste our time. With 4 minutes on the clock, is is Mikhail. Mikhail is passing over to Morton.
No,
Uh,
he's still bleeding.
it is.
Yeah, so you can see more bleed coming off there.
Okay. And you can see Martin
So I see Martin
is
kind of reminding that
move
in
things
order to
along.
be able to get more time, like they should really.
Move things along. But no, yeah, like you said, Mikhail is trying to do things still. And he's playing something there.
Bleed for 3 coming through with conditioning.
Hmm.
Okay, so down to 4. But who is left to actually act and bleed?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Did the other 2 summon minions that bled in that case?
I
We still have
don't,
Alexander
I,
Silverson potentially available to block,
I don't see anything
but the block itself takes time to go through the proper combat resolution.
for
So
sure.
he's really trying to take as many bleeds as possible here to earn himself the turn
You think
with 2
Mikhail,
minutes left on the clock.
you think Mikhail is here stalling for time here?
It makes no sense for him to stall. He's not top seed. Stalling does nothing here.
So why is he doing
Yeah.
this?
So we have
He's getting Morton down to
bleed
two
for
pool.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Morton is at two pool. Does he have a shot?
It's more of the 9 than we expected to come off there.
For sure, for sure.
So does
And
he have lethal
the
now all of a
he does
sudden?
have the last vampire going. Yeah, no, taking it back.
Is Alexander Silverson holding back the last bounce? He must be the last action available.
Right, right.
Because we can see the political Martin looks not at all concerned.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He looks very calm. So he must have been doing some math. This is the last standing vampire of Mikhail's, and he's launching some kind of lead, I believe. and Martin is not looking too happy with that. So the political attack, Morten Cederholm, is not very active in when that discussion is going down here. He looks very laid back.
Well, the Hector has an enormous amount of stealth. So then the bullet deck himself is a stealth deck with heavy obfuscate.
Yeah,
So now Martin Weinmeier is trying to figure out if he can stop the oust here to get himself the tournament win.
right, right. Because if uh, if Mikhail is bleeding Morten Cederholm, the political deck, and Morten is able to deflect it onto Martin, well, then that is just putting Morton, the political deck, in a much, much better spot. Oh,
Life Boon. Life Boon is going to give him pool.
and he's recovering the.
The
And he,
audience is not happy here.
no,
Seeing the most French of all cards coming down to steal the win.
so that is actually Morton Cederholm being ousted, right?
He's got the boon, so Martin Weinmeier transferred pool to him to keep him alive.
All
And
right.
now, if Martin is alive when we grabs the next VP, will go to him. But we hear the time on the round,
Time is called.
and it ends with
And
a
that
win in
means,
the order of seating.
so in order of seed into the table, people will be placed, which means that Martin wins. And yeah, Mikhail was so close there, but was not able to finish it.
Valid attempt.
So that was the end of the round. We will be back tomorrow with a lot more leaders for you.
Yeah, so the week of streaming, as the guys are keeping it on the chat there, is going to really be ramping up. We're hoping to improve the quality of the actual stream itself. So we have alternative camera options coming in, and we'll be streaming the entire day. So you can expect from us the 3 rounds are all going to be streamed. After that, we're going to have the final, and after the final, we're going to have the GP showdown with them 5 present winners of the GPs going to battle between themselves. So all fans of Mariusz and Martin can definitely dial in tomorrow at 9, perhaps at 18:30 as well if they make it to the final of the day
That
one.
is indeed the case, yeah. And we will have more streams for you on Sunday as well, right?
Yes. So on Sunday we'll be commentating day 2. So from here on out, you're going to be hearing a lot of us in the next couple of days.
Get familiar with that. Right, so that's it for us tonight. It's been a pleasure. My name is Victor, and
I'm Ben Fox, and you've been a wonderful audience, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
night. Right. That went well.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that was actually pretty good.